Origin Unexplained.
There's something not quite right about Denver International Airport. People sense it the moment they walk in. Maybe it's the sharp angles of the tent-like roof meant to resemble snow-covered mountains. Or is it teepees? Or perhaps it's the strange murals that stretch across the walls filled with burning cities, masked soldiers, crying children, and, oddly, hopeful rainbows. Could even be the giant blue horse outside with glowing red eyes and a history that already includes death. Denver International Airport isn't just an airport, it's a storybook of hidden messages, buried secrets, and unanswered questions. People are starting to ask what's really going on here. Or actually, they've been asking that for quite a while now. Let's begin above ground where the weirdness is visible to anyone who's paying attention. Denver International Airport opened in '95, 6 years behind schedule in nearly a $2 billion over budget. Right off the bat, that's, enough to raise an eyebrow. But what really gets people talking are the things that were deliberately placed all around the airport. There's the murals, statues, plaques, and design choices that seem to scream symbolism, secret societies, and hidden agendas. Inside the airport's main terminal is a piece of artwork titled "Children of the World, Dream of Peace," and that was painted by artist Leo Tanguma. It's actually two massive murals side by side, and the first one shows like a militaristic figure in the gas mask. He's wielding like a sword and a rifle around him. There are scenes of destruction, cities burning, mothers holding lifeless children, and animals trapped in a glass box. There's a line of crying children in trails behind a coffin wrapped in a rainbow-colored blanket. The imagery is intense, violent, and confusing, to say the least. Tanguma has said it's meant to depict the horrors of war, and that it does, guys. And that the second panel is the hopeful future. Yes, the second panel does show smiling children from different cultures gathered around a blooming plant celebrating peace. The transition is just abrupt and strange. And critics argue that the hopeful message doesn't erase the darkness of the first panel, which it shouldn't. It deepens it. Why would this be the first thing travelers see as they land in the mile-high city? Makes no sense. These aren't the only paintings. Other murals depict scenes that include depopulation, environmental collapse, and what looks like a massive extinction. There are images of extinct animals, forests burning, and children clutching national flags. It's no wonder that many have speculated that these are predictive programming pieces. Art designed to subconsciously prepare the public for catastrophic world events. That's what it appears to be. Well, and then there's the dedication plaque located near the Great Hall. The plaque is embedded in the floor and marked with a symbol of the Freemasons, a group long associated with secrecy, ritual, and alleged connections to global power structures. The plaque bears the words New World Airport Commission. That's unique. A name that doesn't appear to exist outside of this one reference, guys. Officials claimed it was simply a one-time committee name created for the dedication ceremony, but many aren't buying that. The term New World immediately calls to mind New World Order, right? A theoretical, authoritarian global government that conspiracy theorists believe is being built in plain sight. What not a better place to hide such a plan than beneath a major international airport? Suspicion doesn't end there. Throughout the airport, there's strange markings in the floors. They look like coded symbols or unknown languages, especially on the tiles near baggage claim. Airport officials have stated that these are simply references to elements from Navajo and other indigenous languages. Some researchers believe the markings are codes for something deeper, maybe coordinates, secret instructions, or references to underground networks. Let's not forget Blucifer, the 32-foot tall blue Mustang sculpture that greets guest drivers on the way into the airport. Oh boy. Its official title is Mustang, but everyone knows it by its more ominous nickname. With glowing red eyes and aggressive stance, the statue already has a dark history. It's actually killed its creator, Luis Jimenez, when a piece of the structure fell and severed an artery in his leg during construction. Many people feel a strong negative energy from the statue, and locals have long questioned why such a disturbing figure was chosen to represent the gateway to the city. The official reason is that it represents the spirit of the American West. But with its veins bulging and its eyes lit like warning signals, the message feels more like a threat than a tribute. In addition to the art and symbols, the airport's layout itself has raised suspicions. Aerial photos of runways show that they're arranged in a pattern that some say kind of resembles a swastika. While the airport denies any connection to Nazi symbolism, they claim the layout is based on efficiency and wind patterns. But critics argue that with so many possible designs, why this one? What about all these above-ground elements? What do they seem to do? Point toward one chilling conclusion? This place is more than an airport. It's a coded monument. It's a psychological operation. A temple of symbolism meant to trigger something deep inside, of course. The human mind, fear, curiosity, or both. If the surface of the airport isn't unsettling enough, what lies beneath it is downright eerie. From the very beginning, whispers of an underground world have followed the airport like a shadow. Part of it is because it was built in secrecy, and part of it is because so much of it is off limits. A big part is this: there are structures underground that are bigger than the airport above them, and no one can seem to explain why. The airport covers over 33,000 acres, making it the largest airport in the United States by total land area. Yet, only a fraction of that is visible to the public. What's beneath the surface is layered, sprawling, and in some places completely sealed off. Now, during its construction, 5 massive buildings were erected in the wrong locations. Rather than demolish them, story has it that they were simply buried beneath new layers of the construction. That's not just bizarre, it's expensive, unnecessary, and suspicious. What's even more suspicious is the guys that were doing a lot of the construction were hired, then fired, then rehired. Almost like each one had its own little agenda. Then there's the failed automated baggage system. In the early days of Denver International's launch, the airport actually introduced a highly complex underground baggage transport network that was automated, state-of-the-art, and fully out of sight. It was supposed to revolutionize travel, but instead it failed miserably. Malfunctions were constant, luggage was damaged, and the system was abandoned after a few years. And here's the thing: much of the infrastructure remains intact. Tunnels, conveyor systems, service routes, and massive spaces. And they're still actually operational. They're just not being used. That raises a major question. If they didn't tear it all out, what are they using those tunnels for now? Multiple levels of underground corridors exist beneath the airport. There are confirmed service tunnels for fuel, maintenance, and, of course, staff transport, but they only explain part of the story. Whistleblowers and former employees have described lower levels that go beyond what's officially acknowledged. Some claim to have seen elevators that go to unauthorized levels that don't appear on any maps. Others describe vast, empty concrete chambers that are swept clean, temperature controlled, and constantly monitored, but never actually used for baggage or airport operations. There's even rumors that the tunnel system connects to other locations via deep underground military tunnels, what some researchers call the DUMBs, or deep underground military bases. So how deep does it go? Estimates vary wildly. Some say there are just a couple of extra levels. Others believe the facility actually extends for miles below the ground. The airport has refused to release full architectural blueprints to the public, citing security concerns. Insiders say the true scope would shock people. Then there are the theories about who might be using those spaces. One of the most popular and chilling is that the underground portion of DIA is a continuity of government sites. In a national crisis, elite officials, corporate leaders, and military personnel would be evacuated to underground bunkers beneath the airport, which could serve as a command and control hub. Makes complete sense. These bunkers would actually be equipped with power, water, food, and even security systems. Of course, allowing the upper class to survive a disaster while the rest of the population fends for itself. Another theory ties the site to extraterrestrial activity. This is even more bizarre, really. Some researchers believe that DIA was built directly over an alien base, or that aliens and humans are working together in secret beneath the airport. Either way, it's weird, right? This theory is fueled by reports of strange energy readings, electromagnetic interference, and even sightings of non-human beings in restricted sections. Jeez. So although it sounds extreme, this idea is often lumped together with broader conspiracies about underground cities, reptilian entities, and interdimensional portals. These ideas get brushed off as fantasy but keep surfacing in witness testimonies and classified document leaks. Others believe the space is being used for something even more disturbing: experimentation, surveillance, and, of course, population control. Some reports describe sealed labs, containment chambers, and facilities that could be used for testing biochemical or psychological operations. If true, this would align with the airport's strange obsession with apocalyptic artwork and predictive symbolism. Finally, there's the idea that the entire airport was part of a pre-planned network, built by the global elite, of course. This ties into the Freemasons plaque, the mysterious New World Airport Commission, and the idea that the airport isn't just a building, it's a strategic node in a hidden global system. From this point of view, the art above and the tunnels below are two sides of the same coin: surface level distraction and subterranean control. The idea is that while we're all staring at the big blue horse there in the weird murals, something much bigger is happening underneath. So what's really under Denver International Airport? It depends on who you ask, I guess. Officially, it's just baggage tunnels, fuel lines, and maintenance corridors. But according to former workers, conspiracy researchers, and a growing number of regular people who just trust their gut, there's something far deeper and far stranger and far more important hiding in the belly of this airport. Whether it's an elite bunker, an alien outpost, or the foundation of a future world order, one thing is definitely clear: Denver International wasn't just built for travel, it was built to hide something. So now I'm going to just basically get into some weird things that happened there, but part 2 of this podcast is going to get real deep, and it's not just going to be weird, bizarre, paranormal. So, beyond the symbols, statues, and secret tunnels, something else fuels the mystery of Denver International Airport. Their first-hand experiences, really. Travelers and employees alike have come forward with strange stories over the years. Some are subtle, just enough to raise a question. Others are so bizarre they sound like something out of a science fiction film. But the more you hear, the harder it is to ignore the pattern that something isn't normal. One of the most common reports is the feeling of deep unease. Visitors describe walking through certain terminals and suddenly feeling disoriented or anxious, for no reason. Some have said the air feels charged, like there's an electrical presence in the space. People often describe moments of dizziness, confusion, or even nausea that hit without warning and then just disappear just as fast. These sensations tend to occur in specific locations, most often near the artwork beneath the Great Hall or in the lower level corridors. There's also reports of auditory hallucinations, not just visual. Travelers have described hearing whispers when no one is nearby. A few claim they heard announcements or voices in languages that aren't even spoken at the airport. Some workers have admitted to hearing machinery running in sealed-off sections of the underground tunnels. Are all these experiences exaggerations? Possibly. But they came from different people at different times, in different areas of the airport. So then, of course, you've got the visual anomalies too. Multiple people have reported seeing shadowy figures in the distance, particularly in areas where there's no foot traffic. One airport janitor described walking past a service hallway and seeing what looked like a tall, human-shaped silhouette standing motionless in the dark. When he turned back, it was gone. Security guards have quietly admitted to reviewing camera footage that showed brief flashes of figures or motion in restricted areas, only for those recordings to mysteriously glitch or disappear later. Electrical interference is another theme. Phones die faster here. GPS occasionally scrambles. Wi-Fi drops out without explanation, especially in certain corners of the building. Pilots even reported short-term instrument malfunctions while taxiing near particular runways. Officially, these are chalked up to basic tech hiccups, but let's face it, it's always the same areas, and the consistency is too strong to ignore. Some of the creepiest stories come from the employees who've worked the overnight shifts. A few have talked about freight elevators moving on their own, service doors opening with no one around, and strange banging noises coming from sealed rooms, which, yeah, makes sense, right? One former staff member claims she walked into a storage room to find all the lights flickering in rhythm, as if pulsing to an invisible signal, and then all going out at once. The lights came back on as she left. Needless to say, she quit within the month. There's even stories that cross into the supernatural, with one airline worker who swore she saw a person walk into a wall and literally vanish. She thought it was a trick of light until two other workers mentioned seeing the same thing. Let's face it, are all these experiences exaggerations? Possibly. But they do come from different people at different times in different areas of the airport. And yet, they all point to something just beneath the surface. It's not just about conspiracies anymore or hidden tunnels, you know? It's about energy, presence, and whatever is leaking through the cracks of that carefully constructed structure. Denver International Airport doesn't just look strange. It feels strange. And the people who pass through, whether they say it out loud or not, can tell that 52.4 square miles is something just a little different. Thanks so much for listening to Origin Unexplained. I'm Sue, your host, and in the next podcast, we will be doing part 2 of DIA.
Origin Unexplained.